Hi, my name is Dr. Laura Diaz, and welcome to my treatment group video for disruptive impulse control and conduct disorders. My client's name is Jacob Shannon, and he's 38 years old. The differential diagnosis is intermittent explosive disorder and oppositional defiant disorder. The primary diagnostic features are an inability to resist impulses, which result in serious acts of assault or destruction, and the level of aggression is grossly out of proportion to the instigating stressors. So, a little background on my client. He's 30 years old. He's married and a high school teacher. He's seeking psychological evaluation because he was recently placed on probation at his job. He admits that he has issues managing his anger, but believes that his wife and his boss are overreacting to his episodes of anger. Jacob does state that he has a tendency to let little things get to him. Last week, his boss assigned him to supervise a student teacher. In spite of his seniority, 2 years ago, he earned seniority status, which meant he no longer had to supervise student teachers. He felt like he was being disrespected and that she was implying that he didn't deserve the respect that comes with his seniority. He got a little angry and took it out on a chair in the teacher's lounge. He threw it up against the wall, and the cheap chair broke into several pieces and left a large gash on the wall. He says he was just joking when he lifted the chair and pretended to throw it up against the wall. And how was he supposed to know that it was going to accidentally fly out of his hands? And he also states that his boss just can't take a joke. When asked about an episode that happened with his wife, he gives an example of the most recent fight that they had, which happened when his wife committed them to a social activity that he had no interest in. He became very angry and punched a hole in the wall. He does say that he's never touched her and that she knows that he would never hurt her, and that she makes a mountain out of a molehill. When it was pointed out to him that his aggressive behavior could be interpreted as threatening to her, he admits that he could see how she would feel that way, but it's not like he chooses to have these episodes and that he just gets mad, and before he knows it, he's verbally assaulting her and putting his fist through something. With his upbringing, Jacob's mother abandoned him and his family when he was just 10 years old. His father took it very hard and started drinking heavily. His father would be drunk and become very mean and destructive. He would start throwing things, but he does defensively state that he never touched any of them, and admits that his dad was very verbally abusive when drunk, but he always apologized after and promised to never drink again. Because of his father's inability to deal with his mother's abandonment, Jacob was on his own a lot of the time. Even though his father would provide for him financially, Jacob had to do all of his own meal prep, eat alone, do his own laundry, and grocery shop. He describes his father as an absentee father. When he talks about his upbringing, he becomes visibly distressed. Jacob has never physically assaulted anyone, but has verbally threatened physical attacks. His aggressive behavior has been limited to the destruction of property, and he's never been arrested for any of his episodes. But his aggressive behavior is now clearly impairing his work and his home life. His wife shares that she's been putting up with these outbursts for the entire relationship of 10 years, but in the last year, his episodes have escalated and have occurred now twice a week. She's at the end of her rope and given the ultimatum of either seeking help or divorce court. So for the multi-axial diagnosis, for axis 1 is intermittent explosive disorder. For axis 2, none. For axis 3, none. For axis 4, marital and work difficulties. And for axis 5, GAF is 68. So for the theoretical perspectives, the client's symptoms may be due to a genetic predisposition. Studies have shown that first-degree relatives of individuals with this disorder had a significantly increased risk of developing intermittent explosive disorder. It has also been found that decreased levels of serotonin in parts of the brain that are responsible for regulating aggressive behavior may explain the aggressive outburst. Deficits in the prefrontal cortex, or where judgment and self control reside, are also associated with impulsive aggression. Abnormalities in the brain circuits involved in impulsive aggressiveness may explain aggressive impulsive behavior. And behavioral perspective. The client's behavior may be due to a faulty learning experience, the social learning theory. This theory may surface how these individuals learn their impulsive aggression. Role models that are needed to guide children at a young age on a path of dealing with frustration and anger in a healthy way are slowly lacking. Instead, these role models demonstrate unhealthy ways to deal with frustration and anger. A victim of this disorder tend to imitate what they see and hear later in life. The psychodynamic perspective, an unconscious, unresolved conflict regarding mother's abandonment has essentially led to the client's disproportionate anger. When he experiences small stressors, it results in a big angry outburst due to specific triggers. This means he hasn't faced or dealt with the abandonment issues from his past. Thank you.